If you could leave Syracuse, are you from here?
Sadly, yes.
Yeah, and so
I wasn't born here though.
yeah, but you're ready to go, I bet.
A little
Yeah, so
bit.
where would you go? Lottery comes through, you're a billionaire.
Ireland.
Oh, you go to why Ireland?
It's beautiful.
Have you been
I'm
there?
Irish. I wish. I want to go to Ireland. I do want to go at least once. And if I love it enough, I'll probably never come home.
Do you have meaningful conversations with your passengers? Hi, my name is Levi, and this is the Tip You in the App Daily Drive. Today's Daily Drive is brought to you by Tonquin. With Tonquin, you're going to deliver car parts instead of people. That's Tonquin. Check them out. They're great. I love Tonquin. The Daily Drive is also brought to you by Rideshare.tax. Like, the filing deadline is like tomorrow. Have you filed your taxes yet? Check out Rideshare.tax. And the Daily Drive is also brought to you by VOOM Rideshare Insurance. Before we talk about meaningful conversations, let's quickly just read a couple of quick news items. Fox 59. Uber Eats driver delivers damage to garage door, flees scene after. This is by Claire Curry. Plainfield, Indiana. One dinner left a Plainfield family with a bad aftertaste. They're dealing with a menu of problems after an Uber Eats driver delivered damage to their garage door. That was a lot of puns there. Wednesday evening, Brock Hardesty said that his and his dad spent just $18 getting a meal delivered at around 9:30 p.m. at the Chevy sedan. Delivering the food was supposed to arrive. We were just sitting there in the living room watching TV, and we hear this loud crash, said Hardesty. We were a little, rattled, like, what in the world was that? When Hardesty went outside, he saw a dented garage door in their Yamamoto hibachi dinner. My food was just sitting there, which is a great thing. And the car and the driver were gone, said Hardesty. He's just clearly bailed it out on taking off. So he filed a police report. And bottom line is this. You're going to screw up sometimes. You got to own it. You can't just flee. You just made a problem a lot worse by fleeing because everybody knows that it was you that did the delivery. So you got to use more common sense than that. If you screw up, own it. Okay. Important story here. Fast Company. Uber and Lyft delay their plans to leave Minneapolis next month. Here's why. The ride-hailing companies Uber and Lyft said that they will delay their planned exits from Minneapolis after city council officials decided Wednesday to push back the start of their driver pay raise by 2 months. The Minneapolis City Council voted unanimously to implement the ordinance on July 1st instead of May 1st. Some council members said that this gives other ride-hailing companies more time to establish themselves in the market before Uber and Lyft potentially leave and gives Minnesota lawmakers a chance to pass a statewide rules on pay for ride-hailing drivers. Boy, it looks like the Minneapolis City Council is in way over their heads because why those pay rates sound great, getting what, $1.40 per mile or 51 cents per minute or whatever it is. It's great. It sounds amazing. But the number one reason why we can't earn what we want to earn is supply of drivers. It's not the rate that we're getting paid. It's the supply of drivers. Because if supply of drivers goes down, right, decreases, our rates are going to go up. But a minimum wage is going to only get more drivers out there in the market. That's flooding the market. And yeah, you might make more on a ride, but you're going to get less rides. So just not a big fan of that. All right, sad story here. There you go. Springfield News, Sun. I'm not going to play this video because it's extremely sad, but it says video shows Clark County man charged with murder to confront an Uber driver. Investigators say that an 81-year-old man charged with murder killed an Uber driver who came to pick up a package. God, and you know what? Look at that. Just horrible. Her name is Lolitha Hall. She was 61. And you think about it, here's this woman, 61, just out trying to pick up some sort of package. And this old guy, William Brock, thought he was being in some sort of scam And here she is just trying to plead, and she was killed. And what we do is dangerous sometimes, and you never know who it's going to be. You could be just some old man who thinks you're trying to scam him. So please be safe out there and know that we are risking our lives. And I really hope that Uber and Lyft show more love and care and compassion and try to find ways to make it safer for drivers. Man, those stories just stick with me. Okay. Meaningful conversations. What does that mean? I think typically as, doing Uber or Lyft, our conversations revolve around where are you from, the weather, where are you going, and basic stuff. And that's fine. I'm not saying we have to go deeper than that. However, there are times, and I think you and I both know when that opportunity does exist, we can get into a more meaningful conversation. And I'm using that word intentionally because I'm not saying you have to go into some deep, tragic story. You and the passenger don't have to be crying or something like that, but a meaningful conversation. Take the basic conversation of where are you from and just go one step deeper. And in that example, I said, where are you from? And she said she was from Syracuse, and which is where all my passengers are from. And from that, I said, if you won the lottery, where would you go? Where do you want to do? And she said she would like to go to Ireland. And that conversation transitioned into something more meaningful. We ended up talking about how she's never really left the city or the state. I mean, she went to Ohio once, and I'm just taking her to work, and it was a meaningful conversation. It was something where we connected, and that's what I think all humans want. We all want a connection, and that connection, can lead to a tip or it may not or whatever, but it just means we're making the world a better place. And those meaningful conversations tend to build better relationships. So, yeah. So again, I don't think you have to go out there and talk about, religion or politics or something like that. I'm not saying you should talk about something controversial, just meaningful. And in that example, like I say, they say where they're from. Great. Well, where do you want to go? And sometimes when you want to know where somebody wants to go, that makes it more meaningful. And it doesn't have to be that. It could be, how is your work treating you? What big plans do you have for this weekend? Things like that. And it just takes that conversation to the next level, as opposed to just asking yes or no questions or sticking with the weather. So what are some of the questions that you ask? What are some of the ways that you get into a more meaningful conversation with your passenger? I really wish you the best. I hope that you're safe out there and that you're making a lot of money and that you're really enjoying the gig. My name is Levi, and this is The Daily Drive.